Hey everybody, Stepan Hovnanian for Google Plus Business Spotlight. Want to welcome you guys this week to what is going to be a fantastic show. We have, as always, Ben Fisher, my co-host from Steady Demand. Good morning, Ben. How are you today, buddy?
Good morning, Google Plus. Happy Wednesday. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And I know we have a bunch of people here in the comments from T-Mobile because that's who our guest is today. And I want to introduce Melissa Hudnall from T-Mobile's social strategy team, customer support. She's phenomenal. You know what? In fact, I'm gonna turn the floor over to her in 2 seconds after I remind all of you guys to, like I do every week, to go to gplusspotlight.com, sign up for our email list because we always love to give everybody little tidbits and nuggets of tips and ideas on how to get more visibility and how to use Google Plus for your own business in our email to our subscribers, and also obviously tell you about these wonderful shows that we produce. And if you're going to share, hashtag #GPLUSSPOTLIGHT. And today we are on Instagram. So if that's your thing, we're still figuring it out, but it's a great place to talk about Hangouts. It's a great place to show what goes on behind the scenes. So #GPLUSSPOTLIGHT everywhere. Instagram, we haven't done the rest yet, but #GPLUSSPOTLIGHT.
We're even on the F. We're even on the F word.
What's that?
We're even on the F word.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yes, we have a Facebook page too. So, you know, get in on all this. And in the meantime, I'm going to turn it over to Melissa and welcome so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us, let's just get started. Tell us a little bit about how T-Mobile is using Google Plus and social in general, because it's going to be a bigger topic today, talking about social media in general, but also tied into G Plus.
Cool. So thank you for having me. I apologize if I'm a little stuffy. I'm kind of working through some major allergies right now, so hopefully I won't be coughing into the video here. But I am one of the managers on our customer support side for social. I have a number of online specialists who interact with customers on our various channels through our T-Mobile handles, so the T-Mobile Help and T-Mobile in general. And this through Twitter, Facebook, Google+. We also use some chat functionality so we can interact with customers through chat. And our team that answers questions help customers with their billing questions or issues, and also help promote all of the changes that are happening with Un-carrier with T-Mobile. And so not only are we there to help customers answer questions and things, but we're also there really to help promote all of the awesome things that we've been doing at T-Mobile over the last year.
This is great. I already see we have, I think, a fair number of your crew here joining us.
Probably.
Event comments.
Softball questions, please, everybody. Softball questions.
I love it.
But actually,
if you want me to give a couple of shout-outs, if you want, I don't know. Let's see. I know we have.
We've got Kirsten Hancock in the house. We've got Russ. Hi, Denise. Good morning. We've got Denise out there. Sheila Hensley. Doug Moore. Hey, David Schiffman. David and Roxanne Davenport. All regulars of our show.
I got a few new names. I guess you can give us a thumbs up or whatever if any of these guys. We have a Chris Lee saying, "Hey, Missy." Oh, you know, I'll just bring it up, right?
Yeah, Missy. That's yay.
Nomination. I love it. I love it.
I love Christopher.
I love it. We have Joshua Gellock. Looking forward to hearing Melissa.
Hi, Josh.
Cool. All right, so gentlemen, remember softball questions.
Softball questions.
Softball. Hashtag softball. Softball.
Hashtag.
So, Stepan, I have a question for Melissa.
Sure.
So we were talking about your really awesome team, the T-Force.
Yes,
right?
T-Force.
Yes. So the T-Force, I mean, obviously everybody on the T-Force, it looks like, has their own handle, which is great. I mean, that's awesome for personalization. I think one of the really interesting stories that T-Mobile has is how you recruit people into your T-Force.
Ah, yes. So we actually search for the cream of the crop, the top of our customer service centers. So all of the people that we have on our T-Force team have been like the top of just the regular customer frontline service representatives. And so we search throughout our various U.S. call centers looking for the right people to join our team. So it's not just that you understand, the complex billing issues and all of the different products and services that we offer, but you also have a human side to you that you are able to communicate really well through either through the email or through social. We also look for people who are either heavily engaged in their own personal social sphere or are very interested in the future of where social media is going for business. And so that's usually how we recruit all of the wonderful people that join our team.
Fascinating. So
it's really awesome.
Now you mentioned that well, first we got more coming here. You got a big family. So Amanda Culpepper saying go Missy T-Force Rocks. I'm just assuming now we have a hashtag for you guys, T-Force Rocks. So,
that's one of them.
awesome.
Social domination is the other.
Social domination. We got another one here from Cinda Giordano. Cool.
Yay.
Very cool. This is great. And I want to give a quick shout out to Marilyn Moore, who's one of our moderators on our Google Plus for Small Business community, who likes my new shirt. Thank you very much. My new look with the great shirt. It's not a new shirt, but I wore pink because that's part of your logo colors. Try and do a little bit of branding for you guys. Right.
Thank you very much, Stefan. That's very sweet of you.
Do what I can. People tell you pick a color. Make it like your signature color, and I kind of like this thing a little bit better. So,
I think you should own it. You should own it. It's totally you.
All right, so anybody who comes on our show needs to have like a good brand color that I can get a shirt for. How's that sound? Everybody listen.
They just need to send you a shirt, Stefan.
Yeah.
Just send us shirts, We collect shirts.
That could work. I do
there
enjoy.
Maybe a shirt in your future.
that kind of swag.
Yeah, T-Mobile swag for the win.
Yay! FT Dubs! FT Dubs! Sorry.
So your team of specialists, that's great. You're bringing them up from the ground, from the trenches. They're not salespeople, which is really important. You're not selling directly on Google Plus, and you're going basically for social domination, right? I'll add another hashtag to that. T-Mobile, we are Legion.
Yay!
Because the people that you're talking to, they become brand advocates. They become messengers. They spread your message.
Yes.
Is that part of your goal when it comes to social media for T-Mobile?
Yeah, I think for us, a really big component of how we interact with people is to show that we are human, that we're not robots, that we're not just automatons giving you the one script note in fixing your problems, that every single interaction that we have with every single customer is going to be different and unique depending on what questions or concerns that they have. And I think that is really key in building a really good brand on social, is that as you come across more human, people are more likely to trust in what you have to say and are more likely to build that brand loyalty. And so that is definitely something that we always keep in the forefront of our mind when we're talking through how we're going to respond to different changes in the business, how we're going to respond to the new changes coming with Uncarrier, how we're responding to launching a new device, or even in some of our programs that initially we thought were a good idea, and based on public sentiment, it didn't really turn out as well as we thought. And so that is one of the things for us, is to ensure that when we're interacting with people on a day-to-day basis, whether it's our customers or just the general public, is that we have a human face to our business, and that we're not just a company, but that we're actually people.
Love it.
We care about you, and we want to make sure. Yeah, exactly.
So, but let's. That's a great segue. So let's talk about that product rollout, or
the elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room. Well, let's talk about that. But you had a great experience that you were telling us about beforehand.
Yes.
That involves the whole team, right? So
Yes.
you guys work with your marketing team, even though you're mostly customer service, but you're the boots on the ground at this point.
Yes.
And you're fielding it. You're hitting. It's coming at you from all directions. So now, how do you work with the people creating the brand messaging and the products and everything? And then, I know you have a great story to tell us about how you guys were able to help shape that and help respond to something that came out that really wasn't well received, or received the way that you had intended.
Yes, and yeah, and I will get to that in a minute. But for your initial question, so we have a really, really great relationship with our marketing team. We also have a really great relationship with our corporate communications team, as well as a number of other different departments within the organization. They all understand that social is the wave of the future. And so we're able to work with them to figure out what's the best way to message things, what happens when things don't go as well as we expect them to, and how do we respond to that so that customers still feel like we're not just backtracking, but that we're actually listening to them, that we're engaging with them, that we're hearing what they have to say, and are trying to incorporate their concerns and their ideas and suggestions into how they see T-Mobile as a business. And so we have a really great relationship with our marketing team. We have a really great relationship with other people within the company to really make sure that we're arm in arm linked in how we really want to brand our company and how we want the world to see us. Does that answer your question?
That was a great answer.
Okay, cool. Because I can go on and on about the future of social, so just tell me if I'm going off track.
Well, hey, go on.
Everybody wants to hear. I mean,
about the future of social.
Right.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, I mean, my team is probably tired of me saying it all the time, but I am so excited in the way that things are going, with how we're interacting with customers, how we're building brand loyalty, how we're taking feedback from our customers in a much faster way and able to turn things around very quickly in order to meet their needs as well as also to meet our business needs too. And so, in the past when you launch a product or a service or whatever, you have to go through like doing surveys and doing phone calls, and it takes a really long time to get that information back into the team to say what, the marketing group or the product team or whoever, to say whether it was a successful program or not. With social now, it's almost instantaneous. You can tell almost immediately whether something is going to work or something is not going to work. And then you can also figure out of those things, how should you adjust yourself so that you are being the company that your customers expect you to be, but also the company that your investors expect you to be. And so a perfect example of how quickly things can turn, as if many of you have followed us back in end of March, we had this Advantage program that we were going to be making changes to that fall into the Uncarrier program that we've got overall with the company. For those of you unfamiliar with the Advantage program, it is a program that we have with people who belong to specific associations, so they get a discount off of their rate plan. And so we had made some changes to the Advantage program that, as a company, we thought made sense, that we thought it would be a good program for our customers. We worked through months and months and months of planning of how we were going to do this. And unfortunately, things got out a lot sooner than we had initially anticipated to the public. And so as soon as that got out, we immediately saw the comments and kind of the negative things coming through from our customers about the changes. Even though it wasn't fully baked, we immediately saw the response. We saw the feedback. We saw that our customers weren't accepting and reacting to it as we had initially thought that they would. So within a very short period of time, I think it was actually about within 24 hours, we were able to take all of the information, all of the feedback, all of the comments that we got from our customers about this program, and worked with our executive team to come up with a way to go back out to our customers and to the public about the changes to this program. And our CEO was on board with it. We ended up we're able to put a blog out to get Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus information out. We had things posted on our support space within a very, very, very short period of time, because of that initial sentiment that we received from customers saying, yeah, this isn't a super great program. We need to come up with a better way to do this. And so initially something that turned out to be a bit of a negative PR thing turned much more positive, because we were able to take that information from our customers and actually apply it to our business practice.
So basically, in a nutshell, you took pitchforks and you turned them into flowers.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice way of putting it. Thank you.
And what I think is really amazing about that is that a publicly traded company, which is huge, international, was able to take a product idea, concept launch, and turn it around in 24 hours just because of your social feedback product and marketing loop.
Yes.
That says a lot.
Yes. And I think the biggest success of it is because our executive team is fully bought into the idea of the future of social. I think it would have been a much more difficult thing for us to do had our CEO, John Ledger, Mike Sievert, and our other executive team not understanding and embracing the power of social. And because we have them to back us up, it makes things a lot easier for us to say, hey, people are not super happy about this right now. We might want to reconsider some things and make sure that we're launching this in the right way for our customers and as well as for our business.
So you have the top-down approach, which is beautiful, because we need more of that in the world today.
Yeah, I think for me, it's more of a closed circle loop. I mean, we hear from our executives how we want to approach our business, and then we hear from our customers, and we listen to what they have to say, and then we apply that back into the business decisions. And so it's a really good circular way, I think, for us to be doing business.
So your executives, I guess what I meant by this was your executives are in the loop instead of just being sort of removed from the whole thing, which I think we're starting to see a little bit more of that. But I mean, generally speaking, you guys are probably one of the few companies, at least at your level, that's where your executives are as active and developing a almost their own brand voice that kind of has to go along, or maybe not, with the voice of the company.
Yeah, I agree.
Before we get into the next topic, which is about the executives, Stepan, why don't we go ahead and start answering a couple questions that we have?
Yeah, we have a lot of them flying in here.
Oh boy, I'll do my best to answer.
So why don't we start with?
I want to give Denise Wakeman a big shout out, really, to you guys, because she's been a customer in LA for 12 years and very rarely needed customer service, but when she had the service via phone, has been exceptional. #T-Force rocks. Denise is a great friend of mine, and I know she was super excited to be able to make this, at least for a little bit. So I want to give her a quick shout out. And Kristen Hancock, who's across the pond, has a great comment here too. I think it's pretty amazing that a large company works together to enhance customer relations. An example of everyone communicating the same message. Yes, 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 and yes.
Yes.
Rock on. All right, we got a couple questions in here. You know what? There was one back here.
So let's start out, why don't we, with Scott's question.
Sure. All right, so Scott Croft, who, by the way, does a really cool thing called the Scott treatment, where he'll take, and who knows, he may even take this little segment and chop it up into its own little mini video, which is great for repurposing. All of you guys running Hangouts, pay attention, because Scott really does it great. With so many customers, can T-Mobile or any large company really expect to scale social to provide personalized engagement as you've described, and if so, how?
Good question.
Great one.
So, I think that, as I kind of mentioned before, social is the future, I think, of customer engagement. And so I think, one of the things that we've been noodling is really how do we, in the future for customer service, how do we really want to incorporate the social aspects and not just have our T-Force specialist managing things on social, but really what does that look like for the future for all of our employees? So I wish I had more understanding of what that's going to look like. I don't really have a crystal ball quite yet, but I think right now we are managing the amount of people that are engaging with us so far. It just depends on how much customers are more likely to engage with us in social versus our normal channels of calling in or emailing or writing a letter to the executive kind of thing. So it really depends on how our customer base really embraces the social piece, and from what I'm seeing, that this kind of the way that they want to go with stuff. And so that is one of the things that we are considering as a company, is that do we want to just make this like a little niche thing, or do we really want to make this how we engage with all of our customers?
It's pretty wild.
Does that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
I personally kind of dovetails slightly into that, but
actually, real quick, Ben, before you dovetail, I don't want to clip your tail, but just because we have to get the official T-Mobile page on our YouTube video forever. There we
boy.
go. Power of social media. #uncarrier. Thank you, Drew, for doing that. Appreciate it.
Yay! Thank you, Drew.
All right, cool.
All right. So the quick dovetail was is any of your social media tied in with your physical locations?
How so?
Like, for instance, is there any customer support that's being done at the physical location by social media? Is there any kind of social listening being done at the local level?
You mean like at a call center or?
Yeah. I was just curious if there were any plans for that from the local level.
Not right now, because everything is pretty much managed within our own team, and so we're able to do the sentiment reading and the listening and everything done at our corporate office. Is where our main team is headquartered. But it depends on how we want to expand the social program in the future. I'm guessing that I guess as many companies do when they have call centers and other type of social customer support things, that they do have some local reporting that they can use to help things. But a lot of it is aggregated at a the corporate headquartered level. So right now that's where we are working with the social team, is that it's more here at the corporate office, and that we share out what reporting we've been able to find, and then we also share out sentiment to other smaller groups at local levels. But right now it's mostly done at the corporate office. Right. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Definitely.
we were getting into an interesting topic because we're talking about the different social channels that you guys participate in and listen to different people and help them out on Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus. So if you could you tell us a little bit about how each of them is different for you guys from the people that make them up, I guess, and the types of, if there are even, the types of questions or characteristics of somebody on Facebook, let's say, versus somebody on Google Plus? Because we were talking about it before. I think there's some different dynamics there.
There is. It seems from how we've been interacting with customers over the last year and a half, 2 years that we've been doing social media. It does sort of have their own categories, and so when we're with our Facebook customers, they're usually the more of the novices, more billing questions and just kind of general things coming through Facebook. Twitter seems to be more of a millennial type of conversation, very quick, very more text messagey kind of interaction with people, just quick little one-liners and things of just either, hey, you guys are awesome, or hey, I'm not happy, this sucks, kind of thing. With Google Plus, we've noticed that they're much more tech savvy, much more of the Android fanboy type of interaction with them. So on the Google Plus side, it seems much more we talk more about devices and and speculation about what's coming down the road with changes with applications or with services or things. So it seems much more of a techie type group over at Google Plus versus the Twitter is more of quick interaction. We have a lot more interactions through Twitter than we do with some of our other channels. And then Facebook is more of it seems more of our more novice, more general billing type of questions and things coming through Facebook.
So I could send my mother-in-law over there.
You could. The good thing is that we have all of our T-Force folks hit all of those channels. So whether you're interacting with Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, or on our T-Mobile community platform, you're interacting with the same people who are top-notch.
How about globally? You guys have different channels globally?
No, we're actually a U.S. company. So we manage everything based off of our U.S.-based customers. We do get some interactions with T-Mobile customers that are T-Mobile UK, T-Mobile Netherlands, and so they actually have that side of the house. The non-U.S. side has their own handles, their own social departments, and their own billing systems and everything. We're completely separate from them. So we'll hand them off to those other customers. But our main customer base is U.S. We do have international people coming into the U.S. And buying a SIM card for their short period of time that they're in the U.S. So we do deal with some of those customers, but usually it's they're using the service here.
Very cool. You know, before we get into the discussion about the more the executive levels of the team or the company, got a question for you, okay? And that is the story of the day. What is your best experience or story from Google Plus?
Oh, Google Plus. Well, I would have to say probably getting on this webcast. And I have to thank Drew for that one, because he's the one who actually helped initiate the conversation. But I really, a lot of the times, it kind of has its own little organic movement. And I mean, we do engage often and a lot on Google Plus, but it seems much more of a collaborative environment where a lot of times we don't really need to jump in. Like, everyone else seems to be helping each other answer questions and promoting the brand. So there really isn't anything that sticks out quite in my mind beyond actually being able to talk with the both of you and participating in this conversation. So.
Right on.
I can actually tell the story, sort of. I don't remember all of it, but because that's me. But I can tell the story, kind of how you guys got on my radar to the point where I pinged Drew into a conversation, or T-Mobile, but Drew answered a conversation that ultimately led to this, to today's show. I remember. Well, first off, I know that I see you on. I participate once in a while on, hey, what kind of phone should I buy? Types of posts, because for the fun of it, those can go like 200-300 comments. Everybody's got an opinion, especially here on Google Plus. And I've noticed that T-Mobile stops in, and you guys, hey, what can we do to help if there's any questions, blah blah blah, that kind of stuff. And so I already knew that you guys were paying attention, and it just so happened that there was a post at one point where somebody, was talking about getting a different phone and wondering if they should switch to T-Mobile as a result of that. And that different phone that they were looking for. Like, again, I wish I remember the exact conversation, but the way that you guys came in and helped pretty much convinced this guy to do it. I mean, I remember seeing it a couple days later, like, okay, T-Mobile, I went and I got the phone. I switched over to you, and don't let me down. And you're right there again. And I'm like, dang, this is cool. All right, we gotta get these guys to come in. So I will find that thread. I'll use search, because Google Plus does that pretty well, and I'll send you those links just so that you can at least have it for nostalgic purposes.
Oh, thank you, Stefan.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
And just to add to that, I mean, it really does speak, I think, a lot to really just the humanization, like you were saying, of T-Mobile, and because to dovetail on that. There we go, another word. That story that Stefan was saying is we were in a chat and we were like, hey, wouldn't it be great for T-Mobile to come on the show? And we sent a private message to T-Force, actually, and we got a response back. I think literally we were just like, hey, I just sent over a message over to T-Force, and literally like 20 seconds later, it's like, they just said yes. And it was like,
we are listening. It
Wow.
can be kind of creepy. It can be kind of creepy where we do respond a lot faster in general than a lot of other companies. And so, like, oh God, they're listening. And I think that's also pretty surprising with our customers too, because I think a lot of times they're used to interacting with other companies and they just post stuff out there and no one ever hears from them again, and they're just like, it's just out there in the universe. But with us, we are paying attention and we're responding very quickly, and I think it does, from what I've been seeing, it does surprise some people, like, oh, you're actually a person and you're actually listening to me, and I'm actually going to get a response and get something fixed in a really short period of time. This is incredible, and that's really the kind of thing that we're trying to drive with our social support side, is that we are human, we're listening to you, we're here, and we're not going to just let you sit and fester in whatever issue that you have. We're here to help, and we mean it.
It builds a lot of brand equity that way.
It does. It does. It does.
And when people have problems, we were talking a little bit about community in the green room, and you send some people over to the community, which is actually on the T-Mobile website. There is no Google Plus community at this time.
Not yet.
Starbucks is well known for, if people are having a problem with Starbucks, they'll send them out, a $50 Starbucks gift card.
Yeah.
Things like that. How do you handle that as a customer support team? Just out of curiosity, when people do have problems.
So when they do have problems, we try to figure out through different questions that we ask, what is really the root of the issue. If it's something just more generalized, like how do I change my voicemail message, or how do I turn off this particular notification, we have a lot of content out on our support site that we can push people to, so give them links to different things that they can view on their phone, or they can view on their computer. They also have a space in that place where they can interact in forums with our T-Force team as well as with other customers. We don't send customers there all the time, but it just depends on the type of situation. If it's a generalized thing of how to set something up, then we'll push them out there. But if it's a more complicated issue where they have multiple lines, things weren't set up right on the account, there was some kind of weird buggy thing in our billing system that all of a sudden has been charging them like $1 bazillion for some account that they've never had. That stuff we actually will take offline, and ensuring that we're protecting our customers' information, and that we're very, very cognizant of security, and making sure that none of that personal information is shared publicly. And so we'll actually take that conversation off of social media and put it into an offline secure channel so that we can interact with them on an individual basis to figure out what the problem is and how we can fix it.
That is so important. That is so important, and that's really great.
It is, and we're very, very, we're very keen on protecting our customer information, on protecting, making sure that we're being secure in how we're engaging with people. So we will never share like personal information through our social things. We'll try to get people out of the public sphere and get them into a private conversation so that we can really provide that one-to-one experience.
Well, beyond just the security element of it too, what's nice is that you're taking the you're kind of taking the idea of, we want to help you, we also want to show you how to help yourself.
Yep.
And if it turns out that we need to get something a little bit more one-on-one or deeper into the situation, that's fine. But a couple of things you were saying before are really interesting, because I know that there could be some perception that, they're just sending me off to go find, download an app or find some help,
right,
or go somewhere else instead of helping me one-on-one. But they are helping you, and don't forget that, like, if I give you a link to go find, that link becomes a go-to resource for you later on down the road, and that adds to your own internal knowledge instead of having to ask the question 50, 60, 70 times every time you forget the answer. So there's value to that too. I wanted to point that out, because I know that there can be a perception issue with sending people elsewhere for help, and
right,
but it's important.
Yeah, and it's important to understand when is it okay to hand off to just like a general place for you to go and look on your own, versus you really do need to have hand holding, and we're here to help you. And by the way of how our T-Force folks are interacting with customers, we do have some that will no longer interact with anyone else but T-Force if they have a problem. Like we'll see repeat customers coming through social, because they know that if they've got a problem, T-Force will fix it. Or at least we'll try their hardest to fix it.
Really? So are you saying that the actual support load has, would you say it's petered off more, say, from the phone support call center load to the social side?
I don't think it's that significant yet, but we are seeing some call deflection where people are preferring to interact with us online versus doing it over the phone. I haven't seen, from my understanding, any of that information, so I'm not really privy into like what's actually coming into our call centers. But I know that we have been seeing an increase in how customers are interacting with us. I know our Facebook numbers have gone up. Even our Google Plus has grown exponentially. And as I mentioned before, we're not really pushing hard in Google Plus. It's just growing organically, just because people are like, hey, you're out there, I want to start interacting with you. And so it's interesting to see that it's grown very quickly in how people interact with us. But it really we'll see how it pans out down the road with how we support customers.
So everybody on this show, what you got to do is follow T-Mobile, talk to the T-Force, and tell them that you have not had to call into the call center. That makes Melissa's job even that much more awesome, and T-Force will love you forever.
Oh boy, I think they're going to kill me.
I think it's a good time to bring up this comment. T-Mobile support rocks. That
yay.
Yes.
It didn't work there, but yeah, this has been really really fantastic.
Let's segue a little bit here, Stefan, into talking about the executive level.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think it'd be a great way to wrap it up.
Yeah, because there's a really key story here, and I think a nice little takeaway for just the Google Plus community in general, and for any CEO that's out there right now watching this show or watching it later on YouTube. There's something to be really learned here. That's a good lesson. And with that, Melissa, I will start it off with one question.
Okay.
Your CEO.
Yes, Mr. Ledger.
He is the one who basically wanted this initiative and wanted this to get rolling. Tell us about the entire story.
So we actually had started the social stuff before Ledger got super involved. But since he has taken on the Twitter world, social has pretty much exploded. And I think that is a really key component in how we're going to be able to grow our business within the social support sphere, because he is such a proponent for social media. He does interact with customers. He interacts with the public. He posts selfies all the time. He likes to, crack jokes on different various executives. I won't really say names, but you probably know who they are. And so he's very bold. I think that he is like the true face of our own carrier movement. And because since he's been at the helm, we have seen such awesome support on how we can grow and build this department with this organization, that it's just phenomenal in where this can go. And I think that is, as I think I mentioned earlier, that's really the key piece on building the brand that people trust and want to be loyal to, is to show that our executive is connected, he's engaged, he is in where people want to be engaged in, and it's pretty phenomenal. He's a very, very big supporter, as are the other executives, on using social and not being scared of it, because it is scary. It's scary to see people tell you things that you really are not okay hearing about. You hear negative things as well as you hear positive things, and I think that by giving people that platform to speak and to view their opinions and express how they feel about our company, and then him listening and responding back, it's huge. It's huge in building that brand loyalty.
Hashtag the most interesting carrier in the world. That's all I've got to say. I mean, that's great that the CEO can really embrace it. He can be himself. Because I always wondered when watching a T-Mobile commercial, it was like, is that really the CEO, or is that just an actor on?
Oh, that's him. That's him.
So, but that dovetails into there it is again, that word dovetail. But that comes to
drinking game today.
I know, right? Exactly. Sorry, we're not talking about tools. Drink. No, but seriously, so how does the T-Force deal with your CEO's behavior? Because you've been known to go at it with AT&T. If he's being himself, he's a human. He's going to make mistakes. He's going to say things that are not particularly PC, probably. So how does the T-Force deal with that? And more importantly, I guess, how do you train the T-Force to deal with that?
So we actually are very well connected with John's Twitter feed, and so we do actually watch and see when the conversation goes into more of a support type of conversation rather than just the normal engagement about the company in general. As an executive, I'm not exactly privy on all those conversations on when he should say things and when he shouldn't say things. Since he is the leader of the company, he pretty much can do what he thinks is most appropriate. But when things do come out, where, like, for instance, when he got kicked out of the AT&T thing back at the CES in January, where he got kicked out of at the AT&T show, we had to kind of deal with some of the repercussions. The good thing is that most of it was positive, and so our T-Forcers really didn't have to manage too much of that negative conversation. But sometimes, things get said, and so then we just need to make sure that we're working with our PR team, with our marketing team, to understand really what's the messaging that we really want to say, and making sure that while what John says is what John says, we're also backing up either something backing him up or backing up what the company is doing. Does that make sense? I just kind of rattled off on a bunch of stuff.
No, it's fantastic.
You can't really control him, but we do work with him quite well and pretty closely. So, but really, there isn't much need to control him. He is what he is, and he is the true face of what the in-carrier movement is. And I'm totally, to use an old term, I'm stoked. I think I just showed my age, but yeah, I'm very excited of having him on board and just the way things have been going, not just with social, but just overall with the company. It's exciting.
This is really a great story. I mean, and that is that it doesn't matter what size of a company you are, that whether you're a Fortune 500 publicly traded company or you're a mom and pop shop, come on, get your CEO, get your executive level involved, have somebody or a team that can handle whatever fallout's going to happen.
Yeah.
Let them and trust them, let them do it.
Yeah.
But be yourself and just be yourself and be the brand, and this really is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A lot of great lessons come out of today, and obviously be able to use T-Mobile as an example is totally fantastic. I want to bring up, to your credit, Melissa, I want to bring up Philip Counterman's comment here because I think this wraps things up beautifully. Perfect representation for what T-Force stands for and doing an awesome job.
Phil. Thanks, Phil.
So I think that's going to wrap it up for us this week here on Google Plus Business Spotlight. I want to thank Melissa. I want to thank her whole team for chiming in on the comments. If you are watching the replay of this and you have any other questions, feel free to leave them on YouTube or here on the event page if you're watching it here. Again, for Ben and myself, thank you guys so much, the whole team obviously, for being a part of this and sharing your story with us. We've learned a lot. There will be a blog recap shortly. And in the meantime, go over to gplusspotlight.com and sign up for our email list because those are the people who are going to find out about it first.
Yay.
And we'll also find out about all of our upcoming guests. Speaking of which, no show next week. Ben and I are going to be in Vegas for a steady demand retreat talking about strategy and Google+. So maybe we'll do a replay like they do on TV. I don't know. We'll show reruns. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys back towards the end of the month on Google Plus Business Spotlight. And for now, I'm Stepan, Ben, Melissa. We'll see you guys later.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Happy Wednesday.